Welcome back as we continue our study in the Gospel of Matthew, and we're in chapter 21. And we had, in studying chapter 21, we started off with the Messiah entering into Jerusalem as prophesied by Zechariah. They enter into Jerusalem. And as prophesied by Malachi, he would enter into the temple. And in fact, Haggai, I believe it's Haggai. Let me see. Yes, Haggai. Yes, Haggai was a prophet at the time of the return from Persia, where there had been the Babylon captivity. At the end of the 70 years, the Hebrews were given permission to rebuild the temple. And when they were rebuilding the temple, the glory of the first temple that Solomon made of mostly gold, was splendor in the sense that they had never seen, nor have anybody seen a building like that. The second temple wasn't anything like that. But Haggai says something very interesting about the second temple in Haggai chapter 2. Haggai chapter 2, from verse 2 down to verse 9. So, again, Haggai was a prophet that was of the people that was returning to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple. At that time, you had Haggai, you had Joshua the high priest, you had Zerubbabel, you had Ezra, you had Nehemiah. These were the characters that were in the Bible at the time that were leading the effort of the return, as Daniel had prophesied, and the rebuilding of the temple also, as Jeremiah had prophesied. So here in Haggai chapter 2, we're going to begin from verse 1 and read from verse 1 down to verse 9. This is Haggai chapter 2 from verse 1 to verse 9. In the 7th month, in the 21st day of the month, came the word of Yahweh by the prophet Haggai, saying, Speak now to Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, the governor of Judah, and to Yahushua, or Joshua, the son of Jehozadak, the high priest, and to the residue of the people, saying, Who is left among you that saw this house in her first glory? And how do ye see it now? Is it not in your eyes in comparison of it as nothing? Yet now be strong, O Zerubbabel, saith Yahweh, and be strong, O Joshua, son of Jehozadak, the high priest. And be strong, all ye people of the land, saith Yahweh, and work. For I am with you, saith Yahweh of hosts, according to the word that I covenanted with you when ye came out of Egypt. So my spirit remaineth among you. Fear ye not. For thus saith Yahweh of hosts, yet once it is a little while, and I will shake the heavens and the earth, and the sea and the dry land, and I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come. And I will fill this house with glory, saith Yahweh of hosts. The silver is mine, and the gold is mine, saith Yahweh of hosts. The glory of this latter house shall be greater than the former, saith Yahweh of hosts. And this place will I give peace, saith Yahweh of hosts. So he said that the second house, which is nothing in appearance compared to the first one, he said it's going to be greater. He said, this house shall be greater than the former. Now, Solomon's temple was, tremendous, right? Why did the Most High say to Haggai, tell the people that the second house is going to be greater than the first one? When it wasn't made of gold, it wasn't, and he said it's going to be filled with his glory. What it wasn't made of gold. It wasn't anything like the first one. That's right. Because his glory is represented by Messiah. Because Messiah was going to come into the second one. He was going to walk into the second temple. And that's why the glory of the second one was greater than the glory of the first one. He said, I'm going to bring the desire of all nations, the best of all the nations is going to come into that temple. That's Messiah. And he's going to fill it with his glory. That's Messiah. Messiah is the Father's glory. Does that make sense, y'all? So Messiah is the representation of the Father's perfect righteousness. He's called Yahweh our righteousness. He's a representation of perfection, of being without sin. He's a representation of the covenant, the word made flesh. He is the Father's glory. So the latter house is going to be greater because Messiah would walk in there. Now, the sad thing is, as we know, though he walked in there, the leaders of the nation did not recognize him as who he was. And in fact, they disrespected him. They disrespected him by telling him, the children shouldn't be yelling these things about you. And now we go further in Matthew 21. Matthew 21, going to begin at verse 23. Matthew 21, beginning at verse 23. And I'm going to read from verse 23 down to verse 27. Matthew 21, verses 23 through 27. And when he was come into the temple, the chief priests and the elders of the people came unto him as he was teaching and said, by what authority dost thou these things? And who gave thee this authority? And YHWH answered and said unto them, I also will ask you one thing, which if ye tell me, I in likewise will tell you by what authority I do these things. The baptism of John, whence was it? From heaven or of men? And they reasoned with themselves, saying, if we shall say from heaven, he will say unto us, why did ye not then believe him? But if we say of men, we fear the people, for all hold John as a prophet. And they answered YHWH and said, we cannot tell. And he said unto them, neither tell I you by what authority I do these things. So they came and asked what authority he had to go into town as he did, to baptize, to teach in the temple. What authority did he have? Now, you and I understand, of course, let's look at Psalms 2. Psalms 2, the second Psalms. And let's begin at verse 1. It's only 12 verses long, Psalms 2. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, which is translated Messiah, against his Messiah. Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. Yahweh shall have them in derision, for he shall speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. Yahweh hath said unto me, thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost part of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them in with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings. Be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve Yahweh with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. So here is the anointed of the Father. They did not recognize him as the anointed of the Father, which is extremely important for us in these days. As you all, most of you here in the room here, understand, you do not expect, nor should you, any religious authority to recognize the truth that we're in, right? You cannot expect any religious authority, and I'm saying that word purposely, you cannot expect any religious authority to recognize the truth that you and I are in, the righteousness of the Father that we trust in. You cannot expect anybody to actually recognize that as anything official. And why do I say that? Because there's official religions. So, for example, Christianity is an official religion in that it is recognized by the world. Catholicism is recognized by the world. All of the various offshoots, daughters of Catholicism, Baptist, Pentecostal, SDA, Mormon, Jehovah's Witness, they are recognized as official religions. In fact, there is a list of Christian churches, and the list is called the World Council of Churches. This is an official list of churches. And all of the denominations that I just told you are recognized as official by that list, the World Council of Churches. Islam is an official world recognized religion. Now, officially, who does the recognizing? Well, the United Nations recognizes who they recognize. Christianity, Islam is recognized. Judaism is recognized, right? Because the state of Israel's official religion, though Jerusalem is run by Muslims, is Judaism. And so Judaism for the Zionists is recognized as an official religion. So and this of course happened to me, it may happen to you, it may have already happened to you. When I was in New Hampshire and I left the SDA church, and I was put out, let's put it that way, because somebody's listening and saying, oh, you was put out. Okay, I was put out, left, whatever. I was no longer a member of the SDA church, okay? And people came from New York, I was in New Hampshire, to get baptized. So me and one brother that was up there, we baptized some people from New York. Another brother, Hebrew, was living in Maine. He came. And we baptized him, and we baptized people in a pond at that time. It was a pond in this little town in New Hampshire. That was the first time we did that. The brother from Maine, me and this other brother baptized him in a hotel pool. Okay. And I recognized at that time, as John the Baptist recognized, the authority to baptize came from the Heavenly Father. But you see, the people that were of the recognized religion said he shouldn't be baptizing anybody. He doesn't have authority. Then I moved from New Hampshire to Virginia, and I'm just using my example of myself but this goes for a lot of people. And at the time, we started leaving now Christianity, or I did. And it was being reflected in these Bible studies like this one. Except if you go back to Bible studies we did in 2004, you would see as heavy, I should probably go back and erase them all, but this heavy Seventh-day Adventist doctrine. And then less heaven, SDA doctrine and Christian doctrine. And then I started awakening around 2010 to the Hebrew truth and who I really was. And then it was starting to go toward that, and it's been that way ever since. But each stage that I was going through, I was baptizing people. So when we came to Virginia, there was a family, happened to be children of Yafet, whole family, mother, father, 3 children. They wanted me to baptize them. And when I came to baptize them at their house, in their private pool, a whole bunch of people came from the SDA church that knew them and were protesting. You shouldn't be baptizing anybody. You have no authority to be baptizing these people. And we baptized them anyway. And since then, I don't even know how many people I baptized, but people have been getting baptized ever since, right? And so every time, though, when somebody hears about it, even like recently, posted pictures of one of the baptisms. I think it was Brother Baldy Thorpe got baptized here in Florida, and we posted pictures of that baptism, or my wife did, on Facebook. And somebody that I used to go to church, having been fellowshipping with this brother in more than 10 years, he calls me and say, I see you're baptizing. Where in the Bible does it say you could baptize? And I said, where in the Bible does it say John the Baptist can baptize? And I said, first of all, I don't believe I owe you any explanation about why I'm baptizing people. That's between me and them, and they got nothing to do with you. But just for the sake of our long-term association, I will answer you. And I said, the Most High gave me authority to baptize. The Spirit gave me authority to baptize. And those that ask me to baptize them are convicted of the same Spirit to be baptized. But he had the nerve to try to ask me, what authority do you have? And brethren, this is exactly what's happening here. What gave the scribes and Pharisees authority? Well, they would tell you that the Bible gives them authority. Moses gave them authority. That's what they would tell you, right? Moses gave us authority, right? But as you know, and I know, Moses didn't give no authority for there to be a Pharisee or a Sadducee or two high priests, right? Moses didn't give no authority for that. Moses didn't give no authority for a Talmud or Judaism. That wasn't Moses. Okay? So, but they would tell you, Moses gave us authority. But here is the Son of the Father. And they did not recognize him, period. And just full stop. They did not recognize him as being the Father's Son. And yet there were people putting clothes in the streets in front of him as he come in on the donkey. There was children yelling Hosanna to the Son of David. People that he had healed from being blind and lame and demon possessed were following. And they did not recognize him. Okay? They did not recognize him. So we can expect the same treatment. Because, brethren, some of y'all sitting here listening to me right now are going to be baptizing people. Not because of me, but because the same Father that sent me to baptize will send you to baptize. And the people that got convicted to come and have me baptize them, they're going to be people that get convicted and have you baptize them. And you're going to be going through the same thing, where someone's going to say, by what authority? What church are you in? I've had somebody, what church are you baptizing them into? I've had that one too. What church are you baptizing them into? And I would say, I'm baptizing them into Christ, according to the scriptures, into Messiah. And they would just shake their head. Because, brethren, let us understand, the world will recognize man's religion before it recognizes Father Yah. It will recognize man's authority before it ever recognizes the Spirit of the Father. Which is why you and I must make sure that as we're seeking the Father and as we're seeking his word, that everything that we do is on conviction. The brother that called me from the SDA church, as well as another brother, said, well, why did you get baptized for your father? He said, the Bible doesn't say that. And I gave him the scripture. And he said, well, it doesn't mean that. And I said, listen, brother, I'm not going to argue with you about what I'm convicted to do. And that shut him up. I said, you can believe what you want to. I said, but I'm convicted. And I was convicted to get baptized for my dad. And I did it. And I don't have no problem. In fact, I feel good having done it. And I don't need to explain to you why I did it. Because, brethren, let us always remember, ultimately, when you and I perform an act on behalf of the Father, we must be convicted. That's the end of it. No man have seen the Father. No man have seen the Messiah face to face. Not that's alive now. And yet we do things under the spirit of conviction from the Father. Those that got baptized, like Brother Baldy's here, he got baptized. Castle King has baptized people with me. Let me ask you, did I ever tell anybody you must be baptized? Did I say you need to come here and let me baptize you? Did I ever do that to anybody? Or were they convicted that they need to come and be baptized? Were they convicted? Superstar was baptized, him and his family. Did I say you guys need to come and be baptized by me or you can't be saved? Did I say that? Or did I say, okay, I'll baptize you because you asked me to? See that? That's what I'm saying. So, brethren, it's got to be conviction. Your ultimate answer to anyone that questions what you believe. You should know the word. Obviously, 2 or 3 witnesses confirms your belief, right? So we know that. But ultimately, even with the 2 or 3 witnesses, you need conviction. And this is the thing, Stephen Kelly asked a good question. Why do they need an explanation? That's exactly right. Because in the minds of people, it's like when you have children in your fet and they act like, well, why are you always looking at color? Or why you think we different? The only reason we think we different from children in your fet is because children in your fet think they're superior to us. And if they try to deny that, you and I know by conviction, they are what? Lying, right? They think they're superior to us. Okay. And so that's why we stand firm on how we stand firm that the Messiah was a black man and all the Israelites are black people. Why? Why y'all got to get? Because you think you're superior to us. You're not. See? And that exposes the whole thing. And that's what it is with, it's like Brother Beckman just said, it's a power control thing. So now, look, when people go to church, and a lot of us have been to churches, right? We've gone to Christian churches. They don't hold no gun to your head and say, you better give us money or you better come to church. They don't do that. They try to control your conscience so that, like the Catholic Church said, you cannot be saved. You're going to go to hell unless you can take Holy Communion. Or they'll say, you can't leave the church. You'll be lost if you leave the church. That's what Protestant evangelicals say, right? You'll be lost if you leave the church. So they got you here. So if they no longer have you here, they don't know what to do. Because like I asked the conference president in Northern New England, he was like, well, we're telling you. I said, you telling me what? I said, without my tithe money, you won't be telling me nothing. I said, it's my tithe money that's paying you. So what you telling me? And they just started the white person nervous laugh. Y'all know the one. Like that. That's the white person nervous laugh. I said, my tithe money is paying your salary. So so then I thought, and I actually said, what benefit am I getting by coming to your church? What benefit am I getting by being a member of your organization? Ask yourself that question. What's the benefit of giving anything to them? And they'll tell you, the Lord's going to bless you. Well, that's not what I read in my Bible. That's not what I read. Y'all ain't no Levites. That's what I ain't read nothing about the Lord blessing me because I'm giving some Baptist church some money. That sounds like pimping to me. Right? So what benefit am I getting here? Besides the Lord blessing me, what benefit am I getting? That's the question you got to ask because they got you right here. And listen, it's not just them, but the religions are they're the foremost in mind control. Okay. That's why you got all these prosperity preachers out here with private jets and money and everything. The religions are the foremost of mind control. There's government agents, believe it, that work for religions, and they're trained in mind control. Okay. They're trained in it. How do I know this? I forgot, somebody turned me on to this thing called, there was a Seventh-day Adventist preacher, and he talked about a thing called NLP, neuro linguistic programming. And it pressed a button in my mind, because when I was doing sales, we would do seminars. They call it self-improvement seminars. In the sales business, you go to different places to these seminars to teach you how to make more money by making more sales. And what really ultimately they're teaching you are mind control techniques, and they're really powerful mind control techniques. And so they're teaching you mind control techniques. And part of it was the mention of NLP. So then when this pastor started talking about it, I couldn't believe that pastors in the SDA church, and I'm sure that's not all, because I've seen other people use the techniques, that they were being trained in mind control techniques. And so what I did is I started looking up, there was a place in New York called the Institute of Neuro-Linguistic Programming, or something like that. It was a school, an institute. So I called them and I said, I'm a pastor, and I was looking at your program. I said, are there other pastors that do that? And the guy said, of course, we get mostly pastors. I was like, really? And then I said, are there any pastors from the SDA church? He said, oh yeah. He said, they regularly come here for training. So then I started observing, and I'm going to tell you, it was so powerful, the techniques that they used. I look back now and realize, but the Most High sent me and my family to this very desolate place in New Hampshire for 5 years. And it was to deprogram me, because I was so good at it, and it became such second nature that I would be using the techniques without thinking about it. That's the scary thing. That was the scary thing. When it came to my conscience that these things exist and they were real, and that pastors were using them, I didn't want to use them no more. But even without thinking about it, I was just automatically doing it. So I had to go to New Hampshire. I was away from all my familiars, all my friends. It was away from TV. I was away from TV and everything for 5 years. We was on 173 acres in a town that had a population of 500 in New Hampshire. And it took all of that with prayer for me to lose those techniques. But I started, being able to recognize, because now I understood that pastors were using them. I would look and watch the pastors use them. And it was amazing. I was watching them use them. And then when he realized that I was busting him, he asked me to come in his office. And he tried to use the techniques on me. And I was like, no, you're not. No, bro. And I kept sticking with the word. And then he gave me the nervous laugh. Ha, ha, ha. Now everybody knows the Bible like you, brother. I was like, that's why you're here. You're supposed to be teaching them. So I realized that, and then, the greatest two people that I saw on a national level that used the techniques with expert precision were Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. They used the techniques. It was amazing to watch. And when you know what you're looking for, I was like, holy goodness, man. And I'm watching them, and that's why I was watching them. Barack Obama would have a bunch of Republicans in there, and he get them to do what he wanted them to do. And they kicking and screaming, but doing what he asked. And they were all trained. Bill Clinton was a master, and so was Barack Obama. Masters at it. Okay. And so the mind control gives them confidence that they have you. So when you are doing stuff like baptizing or preaching or teaching without them, they're wondering, how are you doing this? Because they know you're not in the club. So they're like, how are you doing it? See? So they have the conscience of the people under their control. as did the scribes and Pharisees. They had the conscience of the people by telling them, Moses gave us this authority. We're given this authority from Moses to teach you, and we're supposed to be leading you. So people that want to do the right thing, they'll follow that. That's right. That's exactly right, man. That's exactly right. The first and the second black presidents. Well, really, the first black president was Dwight D. Eisenhower. People don't know that. That was his mama was a mulatto. So by the one drop rule, the first black president was Dwight D. Eisenhower. Then you got Bill Clinton. Then you got Barack Obama. Right. But by the time you get to Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, they're using them techniques. Now, you look at any of them famous preachers, they're all using it. They all have it. They all have it. Okay. And so they are surprised when you, by conviction of the Spirit, are doing something that they're not controlling. That is why they came to Messiah and they said, by what authority do you do these things? Because they couldn't believe that first he knew the scriptures, didn't go to their schools and knew the scriptures, and then was teaching and baptizing with an authority they didn't have because he had the Father's Spirit with him. You see, brother, the Father's Spirit is the most powerful entity on planet Earth. There's nothing that can deal with it. Nothing. The Father's Spirit is the most powerful entity. There's nothing they can do. Nothing. And that's what drives Asatan crazy, because he knows that. He knows that. The power of the Father's Spirit could do what the Messiah talked about, have a mountain be moved, have you walk on water, have you raise the dead. The power of the Father's Spirit could do all that. See? And they have no authority to stop it or control it. Okay? And that's what drives them crazy. They can't control you. And it starts when they stop seeing you giving money. Because in churches, the control of the conscience is so strong, they can depend. They know you're going to give the money. It's not even question. They know you're giving the money. Okay? So when the money stops flowing, there's a problem. We got to go maybe get them wires re-straightened in here. Let's talk to him. That's when you'll get a pastor visit. That's when you get a visit. Wait a minute, you stop coming to church or you stop giving money. Wait a minute, that's when you'll get a pastor visit. Some of you have experienced that already. That's when you'll get a visit, because we got to see what's going on here. We don't lose this money now. Who you listening to? Who is this? Is he with the church? I'm sure some of y'all have already experienced that. I'm sure. I had a pastor come to my house talking about, you a sheep stealer. Sheep stealer? Yeah, because they stopped coming to church because of you. Yeah, right. But brethren, that's why they asked the Messiah that. And brethren, it's going to come to us. It's already, like I said, I've already experienced it. Y'all going to experience it. There's certain churches, there's religions that have official capacity and authority. Okay, like for example, in some Muslim countries, Christianity is outlawed, right? You can't teach Christianity under the death penalty. You can teach Christianity. You can't openly teach Christianity, but there's one exception to that the Muslims allow: the Catholic Church. You can be a Catholic. You just can't teach Christianity. You can be a Catholic priest. You can go to mass. You can do all that in a Muslim country. Okay, they're allowed. So they have authority to say you can or you cannot. Yep. There you go. That's right. Stephen Kelly, you know it. You know it. I told you, my uncle from Jamaica, brother, what are you doing, son? What are you doing? Why you hate the church so much? Yeah, all of that. See, because this does not belong to them anymore. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. When somebody is free from demon possession, is because their spirit is set free from control of a demonic spirit. And now the Father's Spirit is now there instead of a demonic spirit. And that causes a problem. It's the mind control is the same thing. It's like if you are not doing what they want you to do, you're doing something that they would never program you to do. That's a problem. Okay. So anytime we are following the Father's Spirit and his word, which is, again, that's our protection. The Spirit and the word must agree with our conviction, right? So now they can't control that, because what's being controlled in us now? Conviction. Conviction of the Spirit of the Father, conviction of the word of the Father. That is the thing that actuates what we do or don't do, as it were, right? So when that's the case, people that have authority, from churches are not going to like that at all. And don't be so influential that one of their members leaves their church to start fellowshipping in your assembly. Don't do that, because see, and I've experienced that, they'll be very upset at you, very upset, because now they're losing control, and they don't like that. The whole object of man religion is to have control of man. That's, brethren, don't forget that. The whole object of man-made religion is to control man. So when man doesn't control your conscience and the Spirit of the Father does, that in their eyes is a major problem. That is a major problem. That's a major problem. Okay. And just look at the recent history. Let's talk about Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton was a very young man, a teenager just getting into his early 20s, right? 20 years old, I think, at his height. And he had poor people that were white, Indian, Puerto Rican. He had all of these people coming to his rallies and believing the message, what he called the international proletariat struggle. He said, I am a revolutionary in the international proletariat struggle. And that was against what the authorities in the United States wanted. So therefore, he had to go. He had to go. Martin Luther King became very influential, and that was no problem as long as he was preaching peaceful, nonviolent marches. That was no problem. But when he started talking against the Vietnam War, and when he started talking about economic equality and getting our check, he had to go, because his influence was too strong, and the people that controlled him didn't want that. Okay. Same with Malcolm X. Religion, the Nation of Islam, controlled Malcolm X, so that at the beginning, you hear anything he said, he would say, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. Am I lying? That's what he always started. When he was in the nation, that's how he started everything he said. They'd ask him a question, and he would say, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. When he left the religion of the Nation of Islam, and he said, I'm thinking and talking from my own beliefs and my own conviction, he had to go. Because now he's too influential, and he's going to cause and was causing people to leave the control, the mind control of the religion. And that was a problem. So now he had a problem with the Nation of Islam, or they had a problem with him. And of course, the U.S. government considered him a threat as well. So he had to go. Okay, he had to go. Any person that would cause the control to be taken from an acceptable authority is a problem. And the ultimate problem, brethren, are the 144,000. Okay, the ultimate problem are the 144,000. Why? Just like the Messiah. Because they are pointing people to an authority and a power that's greater than man. And as you know, and as we're going to find out as we continue reading in the Gospel of Matthew, ultimately the charge against the Messiah was treason. What was the treason? That he said that he was a king, and that there was a king greater than Caesar, his father, that he was the son of the Father and was going to be the king. That was treason. And that was the charge that they brought him to Pilate. That was the charge. Which, when Pilate was going to let him go, they said, oh, you're not Caesar's friend. If you let him go, you're not Caesar's friend, because he said he's a king. Right. See? So that's what we're dealing with. The Messiahs are assigned to us here when they said, by what authority dost thou these things? And who gave thee this authority? Well, the Father gave him authority. But, even for those people that don't believe in the Father, again, we get our authority from the Spirit of the Father and his word. But at the end of the day, we are convicted by the Spirit of the Father and his word. We are convicted. Okay. And that conviction, they're not going to like or accept. But because what it does is not only you are not being influenced by their mind control, you're not being influenced by their religious organization. Therefore, when you teach people, those people that receive your teaching will not be controlled by their religious organization or their mind control. And that is going to be a problem. Okay? That's going to be a problem. It already is, but we're right now, the Father hasn't allowed us to blow up like that. But it's going to happen. See, when we blow up like that, it's going to be a threat. It's going to be a threat. Okay. And the reason now, the religious leaders are going to be at the forefront of authorities against us, but they're going to have the backing of the U.S. government and of the world government. Why? Because, again, religion and politics have now become one. Okay. It's one in the Pope's office. That's the office of the beast. That's the little horn. That's one. Power of authority in both religion and politics. And now you're going to see it. I don't care if it's Kamala Harris or if it's Donald Trump. It's going to have religion and politics mixed in authority in the U.S. president's office. And that's why when you're not under the authority of the established religions, you're going to have a problem. And I'm going to have a problem. Okay? We already know that. And the Most High is preparing us. This study we're doing right here prepares us for what we know is coming. Okay? We can look at this and say, oh, yeah, we could see that coming. And in fact, see, Stephen Kelly said, he said, oh, you're going to disappoint. What did you say, Stephen Kelly? Going to disappoint your mother? See that? Same principle. By what authority are you doing this? Whose authority is this that you're doing? What are you doing? Right? Trying to get you, control you right there. And look, just look at television commercials. Are not television commercials shot at you to control your thought process and control your mind? Isn't that what they do? They give you these commercials and they show, like, for example, when they're doing a commercial about beer, right? It's a beer commercial. You don't ever see no fat, out of shape dudes and babes drinking beer. They be in shape, they be young, they act like they're having fun drinking the beer. And now if I drink it, I'm gonna get fat. my blood sugar is gonna go up if I drink beer. But they making it sound like almost like it's good for you. Or certain other things that they advertise heavily, and you're always somebody smiling, laughing, being active because they're overcoming their sickness because of this thing they take. Right? It's a continual attack on your mind by telling you continually the same thing over and over again with using powerful mediums of the television. And so that's another thing that they do. Okay. And that's why, for example, when you have major sporting events, the money that's being made is from advertising, and they charge hundreds of thousands of dollars for 1 minute or 30 seconds of a commercial to play. Hundreds of thousands of dollars on like a Super Bowl, right? If it's a Super Bowl or if it's a World Series, something like that, they're going to charge a lot of money. Why? Because they're going to throw that mind control out there and they're going to get their product to sell. They call it advertising. Some people even got the nerve to try to act like the Messiah was advertising. I don't recall the Messiah having no billboards or no commercials or no cell phones. I don't recall that. And yet you see billboards. It's heaven or hell, your choice. Go to church. Billboards everywhere. All kind of little sayings to get you to come to their church. That's mind control. Advertising is mind control. Okay, what it is. The Spirit of the Father brings conviction. And so when we're moving from the word of the Father and from his Spirit, we're moving on conviction. And look, we make mistakes. We're still learning. All of us are learning. So you might be walking in a certain path, and then you find out from the word and from the Spirit, oh, I was on the wrong path. Now you're unlearning and learning more. But all of it is by conviction. That's what it is. It's by conviction. Nobody should be controlling you to tell you what you should be doing and why. You should be doing it, anything you do, because you can say, I'm convicted that this is true. I'm convicted I'm doing the right thing. I'm convicted by the word and the Spirit of my Heavenly Father. This is the most powerful authority we have. Okay? And nobody can tell you anything when that's the case. If I'm talking to somebody and I've done it, somebody said, I'm convicted. Okay, that's the end of it. I ain't need to talk to you about it no more. That's it. That's it. That ends the conversation for me. I'm not going to say nothing else about it when you tell me you're convicted. Okay, that's it. Whether I believe it's true or not, that doesn't matter. You're convicted. Okay, that's all that matters. That means your spirit is telling you, okay, that's it. I'm going this direction. Okay. And again, it's like I said, when I met my wife, Spirit said, this is her. I was convicted. This is her. And he gave me many signs. This is her. It wasn't, I'm not trying to down how people date today, but it wasn't no app. It wasn't no dating site. It wasn't nobody saying y'all two should get together. It wasn't none of that. It was conviction by the Spirit. That's it. Okay. People get convicted to all kinds of things. As long as it matches the word of the Father in your spirit. That's how we move, brother. That's how we move. Praise the Most High. I'm going to stop that here because I'm going to go into the parables next because he gives a couple powerful parables. But I'm going to leave it right here for now because, got a couple powerful parables in chapter 21. There's more powerful parables, 21, 22, 23. He gives, and then I think 25. Matthew has some very powerful parables, and we're going to talk about that. But for now, that's what I wanted y'all to catch today by the grace of the Father, that when you stand on a position, make that position solid with 2 or 3 witnesses from the word or more, and you're praying to your Heavenly Father for his Spirit to guide you and direct your path, and that Spirit brings conviction. So that when you're standing on something, make sure you're standing solidly on those 2 things. If it's not, you're not solid. If you're not strong, it's not a problem for you to say, I'm not sure yet, right? I'm not sure yet. Okay, that's no problem. The key thing is to be honest and sincere with yourself and with your Heavenly Father. Don't front. I'm not sure yet. Okay, don't be sure then. But ask your Father and seek his word so that you can stand firm on conviction. You can stand firm on what your position is, what your stance is on anything in the word. You can stand firm on it. And you don't need to argue with anybody about your conviction. Your conviction is just that. Yours. Based on the word. People will try to argue with you. And some of y'all know, you've experienced that already. They'll argue with you. I'm not arguing with you. It's what it is, bro. It's what it is. Okay. I'm convicted. Period. End of story. Convicted. That's it. See? And that's all you need. And as long as that's the case, you'll be all right. The Father's never going to lead you wrong. Ever. He'll never lead you wrong because he's a Father of truth and righteousness. He'll never lead you wrong. He'll never lie to you. No, Satan will. He will lie to you. And all his agents will lie to you, no matter how sincere they look. But when you stand on conviction in the word, you good. You're good. Okay? Get used to that, brethren. Get used to finding positions in the word that you are taking by conviction, and nobody will be able to move you. You'll be solid. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's what you say, Stephen Kelly. Do you, boo? It's not for me to tell you. Do you? I'm going to stand on the conviction of the Spirit and the word. And that's why I'll be driving Sister Isha Shama crazy. She's like, you don't answer the question. She asks questions, and I'll give her hints. And I'll say, listen, because you have a stronger conviction when you find it for yourself. So if you ask me XYZ, brother Sadak, brother Gabar Sadak, brother Raw, is this the story? Blah, 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 blah. And then I say, yeah, that's the story. Blah, 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 blah. So somebody asks you, where'd you get that from? I got it from Brother Raw. That ain't no answer. See, that ain't no answer. But if I said, listen, look up these scriptures, or I'll give you a hint for you to go find it, and you find it on your own, if somebody asks you, where did you get this position? I got it from this. I looked it up and I'm convicted because I searched it out for myself. That's what you need, brethren. I don't want to see somebody come back to you and say, well, Brother Raw told me this is what I'm supposed to do. Now, see, now you making me into some sort of cult leader, right? Because you said, I got it from Brother Raw. No. See, that's why somebody, Isha Shama, she'd be like, why don't you just answer the question? Because I don't want to give you the answer that you can find for yourself. If you go and find it, then you found it. Right? Now, I didn't give it to you. You found it. That's better. That's the best way to learn. A good teacher will always make you find the answer as far as possible. It may frustrate you. Believe me. I've been there looking for an answer and teacher saying, no, not that. You got to go find it here. And you'd be like, why don't you just tell me? But you know, it's better for you to search the word, find it. And then somebody could ask you, well, how did you come to this position? I looked up here. I found it in this book, and I found 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 witnesses that told me this, and therefore I'm convicted on this. That's the best way. See, I tried to avoid that. Brother Raw told me, oh God, no. See, y'all trying to get me in trouble. Y'all trying to get a brother in trouble. That's that cult leader. Yeah, there you go. See? Yeah, no, not me. Mm-mm. Find it in the word on conviction. That's why you see me. I give you hints, and I say, go look it up. Go find it. Or I'll give you hints that this is it. Go look it up. Get your concordance and get your Bible and get to work. Get your concordance and get your Bible and get to work. That's what you got to do. That way somebody asks you, you could say, I got it from the word. There's nothing better than that. Nothing better than that. Right? Praise the Most High. May the Most High bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, family.